Morning all. Morning all. Thank you for coming to our panel this morning. I'm Dr. Ruth Epochi, and my co-chair is Dr. Odewumi. Joy. Yes, our panel started yesterday, and it was a very interesting one. Presenters from yesterday did so much on Proverbs used by the Hausas, the Eagles, and some South states, as well as the Yorubas. And those presenters looked at Proverbs from the social media perspective, television, and play text. I believe today's presentation will also be as diverse as what happened yesterday. And on that note, I'm calling on Dr. Dewi to present her paper titled Indigenous Language System as a Means of Moral Instruction to Children, a study of selected Nigerian proverbs and folklore. Folktale. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Joy Odewumi. I teach at Lagos State University of Education, Dr. Ejaniki, Lagos. My paper is titled Indigenous Language and Moral Instruction to Children, Perspective from Nigerian Proverbs and Folktales. This paper, my abstract, I have itemized it. Our indigenous language system remains our heritage, strength, and survival. The aim of this study is the examination of indigenous language system as a means of moral instruction to children using proverbs and folktales. The methodology of this study is qualitative, where the folktales and proverbs will be content analyzed. The objective is to demonstrate how rich Nigerian folktales and proverbs can be used to empower the Nigerian child with cultural values and ethics. The theoretical framework for these studies are Emily Durkheim and Frederick Schleiermacher hermeneutic theory. This work focuses on traditional modern society and how it can evolve and function using folktales and proverbs. The Durkheim theory was on the concept of social facts defined as norms, values, and structure of society. While Schleiermacher theory, which is used to translate, interpret, and understand the proverb and the social events through which their meanings for the main participants of the events. The social theory makes learning take place through observation, retention, reproduction, cultivation, which will be reinforced by the two folktales. The gap this study seeks to explore is how the knowledge of proverbs and folktale can promote good citizenship and the well-being of a nation. The major finding of this work is that the values and ethics of any society are deeply embedded in their proverb and folktale, and this can never be overemphasized. Our country, indigenous language system is a great part of our heritage and culture. How the citizen behaves, talk, act in public and in private are a result of good upbringing, especially for the children. We have culture of respect, especially with those that are older than us. Among the Yorubas of Western Nigeria, when we greet elders, we don't use O, we use eh. To appreciate an elder, we say eshe. To appreciate a young one, we say oshe. Our indigenous language system puts premium on moral instruction, because if you are not properly brought up, you will disgrace your parents and yourself in public. The man who has children and refuses to bring them up properly will surely end in shame and disgrace. Our children are dear and important to us. Hence, we have to bring them up properly in our excellent indigenous language system. When I was young, I used to read thrillers from all over the world about rape, kidnapping, bombing. And you wonder to myself, these people have parents. I would be afraid. I say, in our culture, our parents will just say something to you and you will be afraid to do anything amiss. It's not to say there are no vices in our society, but now the vices have escalated. You know that my parents hardly say anything to us without proverb. And they always say that, as our elders say, so that you will know that it's coming from somewhere. It's somewhere of a great respect. It's somewhere that you cannot just discard. If my parents tell you, you know, our elders used to say, leg that is swift, a swift eye is following it. You understand? You already know where they are going, and you caution yourself immediately. So children who are well brought up can use it according to our people. And by that, they can say, according to our elders, to give them the respect. Because so in some culture, when you use proverb, they will tell you, the elder will tell you, so you started using proverb on me now. So we want this proverb to be normalized so that everybody can use it. Whether you're a child, whether you're a youth, if it is normalized, everybody will be able to use it. You know, so for this, I'm going to talk about the inventiveness of the tortoise. In one of the tales I'm going to tell, because I cannot tell you two tales because of time. One is about the tortoise and the python and the hunter, and the tortoise and the hunter and the python. I'm going to recount the story of the hunter and the python, whereby the tortoise, with its inventiveness, prevented the hunter from eating the man. So for this study, we use 15 proverbs from 5 from Hausa, 5 from Igbo, 5 from Yoruba to buttress our points. It's a pity my colleagues that are supposed to say the Hausa and Igbo proverbs are not here. And they are very busy. One lost, the sister lost her husband. She's presently at the east. The other one is ill. So I will just preview a digest to look at. I don't want to. There was a conference I went, somebody read the Hausa proverb. It's not an Hausa man, it's from Ghana. And everybody reacted that is not it at all. It was not selling. So I don't want to enter into that promotion. Just look at the Hausa proverb. If you Hausa, read it. But I will talk about the translation and the meaning. So the first one I have here is a person burnt by fire when he sees ashes. A person burnt by fire when he sees ashes, he's afraid. Because the meaning is a terrible experience. Educate a person to avoid repeating it. The next one is like it. He who harvests bees must be strong, meaning nothing good comes easy. Then the third one is vaccine is better than treatment. Prevention is better than cure. And this is a very good proverb for now that there are pandemic all over the world. A lot of people refuse. They refuse to take the vaccine. They refuse to take the vaccine. They are afraid. They say when they take the COVID vaccine, some people have heard stories. I told one girl, have you taken the vaccine? I said, my brother died though when he took the vaccine. Does the vaccine kill people? Some people say their hands, one of their hands is paralyzed because of the vaccine. So this proverb, I think it is good for this season. And then the fifth one is water does not get sour without a cause. The meaning is there is a reason for everything that happens. Suppose a child is not doing well in school, you know, that kind of thing, and you can see that this child puts on all effort. You can tell him this proverb that, please, either you work harder or there is a reason you are not concentrating on your studies properly. You know, some people can have a book in front of them, they're not reading it. They're thinking of other things. So let's quickly go to the Igbo proverbs. A fly that does not have an advisor goes to the grave with the dead. The meaning is that one should always adhere to advice. If you are advised constantly, you will never make a mistake. Never make any mistake. The next one, if you talk to the ear and it refuses to hear, when the head is cut off, the ear goes with it. It's like the mouth. You say, cut the head, cut the head. To hell with it. He has forgotten that the head is a member of the head. When the head is cut, you will not know what to do. So always respect good opinion and pay attention to advice. An animal that goes early to the stream will drink clean water. So that's one is good for children. Early, when you go to school early, if you start this day with the assembly, you will not miss your way. But because a lot of things are said in the assembly. But most people, parents take their children to school even after the first lesson. If a child gets this proverb, it will help the child and the parents to know what they will do. Then the Yoruba ones are the person who collects the rain with a sieve is deceiving himself. You can just imagine that. You are collecting the rain with sieve. The meaning is pursue your goal genuinely, and avoid exercising futility. If you take a sieve and collect rain, I will not tell you what happens. The next one is one does not run away from one's responsibility. The meaning is that you must be alive to your duties and obligations. So that is for the Proverbs. Let's go quickly to the story of the python and the hunter. Long ago, the hunter was strolling and he heard a cry from a hole. And when he looked inside the hole, he saw a snake. What is happening? The snake said, for 14 days now, I've been inside this hole. Nobody to rescue me. The hunter said, if I rescue you, won't you kill me? I don't want to do a good that will kill me. The snake said, don't worry, I will never kill you when you rescue me. So the hunter returned back home, put a hole in the rope and dragged out the snake. When the snake came out, the snake said, for 14 days now, I've not eaten. I want to eat you. But the hunter told him, you said that my good will not kill me. Now you want to eat me. Okay. As they were arguing, the snake now said, let's ask 5 people. If they say the good will kill you, I will eat you. But if they say the good will not kill you, they say the good will not kill you, I will eat you. If they say the good will kill you, I will eat you. So they started. And you know, in most folk tales, it is told in metaphorical usage. Non-living things can talk in folk tale. You know that kind of a thing. A house can talk, a bottle can talk, water can talk, animal can talk in folk tale. So the first thing they saw was an old hut, and they asked the hut, can one's good kill one? The hut said, yes, so good can kill one. Look at me, a hut. All year, all around, people come to the farm. They use me, they leave me dirty and go away. As my good not kill me when I shelter them. They went again. As they were going, they met oh God, what is this? They met, let me skip that. They now met a dog. Can my good kill me? The dog said, yes, your good can kill you. I'm the hunter dog. I follow the hunter all night. We walk all night. We do everything all night. When he finish killing the game, he will give me only bones to eat. As my good not kill me. 4 minutes more. Then they went again. When they were going, they met Digita. Digita, can one's good kill him? Digita said, look at Amaka and Igwe. They played me so much. After they finished playing me, everybody will leave Digita that brought the sand and start praising Amaka. The 5th person they went to was the tortoise. Tortoise, can one good kill him? Tortoise, so what is the meaning of one good will kill him? What is the meaning of this story? The hunter recanted how he saw the python, brought him into the hole. Tortoise said, take me to the place. They took the tortoise to the place. How did you get inside this hole? Where were you? The snake said, enter, let me see you. The snake entered inside. He said, okay. Quickly took a razor and cut the rope. So the snake remained there. What is happening? Say you cannot, well, you want to come out so that you can swallow us? Remain there. So you can see with the inventiveness of the tortoise, they were able to put the snake back into his hole. And children, we know that it's not everybody you can be good to. It's not everybody. It's good to be good. But sometimes one has to evaluate one's good so that you will never be in problem. This study recommends that the proverbs and folktales should be an integral part of our curriculum, that the government should be serious with the implementation. It is good to know that this paper is an offshoot of an NRF grant, research grant, that shows that the government is putting its mouth where the money is. It was a grant they gave to us last year. We are still on it. This is part of the condition that we have to present in 3 conferences so that we'll take some feedback on the proverb for children. The title of the research is Teaching Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba Proverbs using coloring book and animation. So these proverbs have been put in coloring book, Hausa, Igbo. So the children will color the proverb into learning the proverb and internalize it. And the gap is that we pray that this thing should be replicated in other Nigerian language. When we went for the defense, a Kanuri professor asked me, why are we not doing proverbs in Kanuri? I said, we leave that to other scholars. If they find it worthy, it can be replicated in all other languages. In conclusion, let us revive our storytelling culture again and use proverbs when talking to our children so that they would be versed in it, not only good in English, but also in Pidgin. If one cannot speak fluent English, because not all parents are educated, there are many Pidgin proverbs. I can quickly tell you one. If you're too late, if you're too stay for a party, you go follow them carry chair. If you're not quick, come out, and you go follow them carry chair. So thank you very much for listening.
Yes, thank you very much for this paper. And like we've heard her say, that she actually used general proverbs. She didn't use a text as the case may be, what others used yesterday. But she used general proverbs from the society. And one major point she made is that is a premium on moral instruction, and that the government should integrate it into syllabus for pre-primary and primary school students that will give them the basics for learning our culture and cultural values in the society, as well as being morally upright. Thank you. Now, I don't know who is online. Okay. Can Professor Jules, please,
Yes.
can you proceed? Professor Jules is from Gambia. He's presenting a paper on Balanta Proverbs Beyond Symbols. Please, can you start? You have 15 minutes.
15 minutes, right. Thank you. So, thank you so much. I'm Senegalese. I'm now in the Gambia, teaching at the University of the Gambia, but originally I'm from Senegal. I don't know how many proverbs do you have in comment? I don't know if you have some proverbs in comments, but it is said that whoever knows no proverbs know nothing at all. He is a lost, a dead man or a dead person. This is from Democratic Republic of Congo. Because the thing is not only to know proverbs. You can know proverbs, but how to use them, maybe if you use the proverb accordingly, not fitting in the context, or if you don't know the reality that is behind, it is something like you don't know because let me do this. Yes, one of the function of the proverbs in Balanta speech community is social prestige, because the one who knows how to speak well, or who knows how to use a proverb according to the context, is considered as the person who knows speaking, and he or she is considered in the society. And the more proverbs a man has in his comment, has Tracy stated in his comment, and the better he knows how to use them, the better lawyer or spokesman he is considered to the society or by the society. Because the power Yes, the power and use of proverbs are they've highly developed in Balanta proverbs. So because the thing or the object is not what it represents, but rather what it suggests. A human being is not described or depicted by his or her own terms, but by the concept attribute to him or to her. Now, we just wanted to, just because of time, talk about the context of this study and some tentative definition and the symbols, the type of symbol in Balanta Proverbs and what is behind or the sociocultural practice behind these proverbs. Now, as for the context, in 2012, I started a PhD research at the University of Germany. So talked about this linguistic approach or analysis of Balanta. So Balanta Proverbs, I went to the south of Senegal since I'm Senegalese. So the Balanta people or speech community, they are located in the major ethnic groups in Guinea-Bissau, and in Senegal, you find them in Casamance. So you see the area over there. This is where I conducted the research. And in Casamance, the southern part of Senegal, and also in the Gambia, but you can find them where in Senegal, even not in a very big number. So this is the context. I conducted these proverbs. I did it for my PhD research. So as for the 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 definition. So when I started studying, before even I started studying, I was interested in studying proverbs. And then I went through some literature. So in French, for example, there is a difference between dicton and proverb, dicton and proverb, and so on. But when I discovered Balanta proverbs, it's the definition is more elastic, more flexible, not very just a fixed term or short expression or something like that. Just let's say that it is a reverse discourse, because when you talk about eating or just common things, and then you name a cow or donkey or monkey or something like that. So, and then not to name things directly. That's why we say it is a reverse discourse or pounding words. You know, in African culture, as you can see. So when you do this activity, women, most of the time, you cannot just eat the rice from the field. You have to pound it in order to digest. So that is how it works. A discourse of everyone, it belongs to everyone because it is for the community and no one at the same time. It doesn't belong to anyone. It's for the community and for everyone. So in definition, it is more elastic because sometimes it does not respect the formal aspect. It can be changed in affirmative or in let's say, interrogative or exclamative sentence. So as for the symbols, yes, the symbol found in Balanta Proverbs consolidates and reinforce the social facts, beliefs, and practice of that Balanta society. They are of forests or domestic animal pets, birds, reptiles, free spirits, human beings, objects, and so on and so on. And all these are common, familiar to a Balanta speaker. Now, it can be a noun, like here, that are full binama. You don't wash a fish in the sea from which you caught it. Yeah, here we have sele and full, which are nouns, and it can also be a verb, like falingede and boom. A donkey does not give birth in public. So here we have give birth as a verb, meaning you don't reveal your secret to anyone or in public. Yes, I would like to give you the context where it is used, but because of time, I just want to go a bit fast. Or it can be an adjective like anin wo madir mdandip sole, meaning an ugly woman is better than an empty bed, meaning it's better to marry an ugly woman than to remain single. Okay, so yes. Now, what is behind these proverbs? What is behind this? What do we find? So the situation makes a proverb. So, for example, when I started doing the research, I asked people, do you know a proverb and the situation you can it is used? They have difficulties because it's not something you have in mind. It has a stock, and then you can use it as you want. You need a situation, and easily the proverb comes. And the context also is very important. But what we note is behind the words, behind the grammatical structure or linguistic items or structure, behind all of this, we have a whole story of the Balanta people, because it's not just in vain that they use this symbol, they use this animal, they use this item and so on, because there is a link between the perception of the world, how they see their philosophy, and the way they think it should be. Now, we just take just three examples. We have 6 more minutes, I see. So the cow has a protective and that has a mystical power. We have a cow has a, yes, the item behind the cow. So, for example, when they ask me, who are you? I say, I'm a Balanta. They say, you are a thief. Because there is a link between Balanta people and this story about the and the death in Balanta Proverbs. We will use this basket. Now, as a cow, Jila Uyolanga was a keke, meaning an old cow doesn't pour milk. An experienced person always knows how to run things because the person has so many experience. Now, the cow is sole taker to ensure the survival of the crops. We know, yes, we know it in Africa. And during the rituals or some ceremonies in Balanta community, the cow, they are killed in numbers, and milk provided for consumption or ritual. But in Balanta perception, in Balanta philosophy, a cow is a mystical animal. And then, you know, when the shepherd goes to the pasture to take care of them, so when the danger arises in the forest, a shepherd life is in danger. One of the cow, usually the old one, comes in his defense. So the cow can take the soul of that person to hide it in his body and then to protect. And it's also the same in the enclosure when the danger comes, you know, yes. And that's why it is risky when there is a ritual, you wanted to kill a cow, they have to go and ask first the how is it, the shepherd, in case he has hidden his soul in the cow. So they ask, if it is the case, they do the ritual so they can take back the soul. Because if you kill the cow with the soul, it can be something difficult. So, and yeah, that is regarding it is a protective animal, but also the theft. So in Balanta does not, you know, in some, I said in Balanta, we have other subgroups: Balanta Ganja, Balanta Brasa, Balanta Naga, Balanta Kantohe. But there is a subgroup when you are an adult, you wanted to get married. The saying is you have to go and steal. But themselves, they don't consider it as a stealing. It is just you have the ability, you have the lucidity, the intelligence to usurp another property without the owner noticing. And someone said that the main virtue of Balanta is to know how to steal. He who has stolen a wardrobe from the house without the master noticing has given the best proof of his talent and will easily find a wife in his country. So if you want to get married to Balanta Speech Community, please, you have to start from that for my listeners. So this did accomplish as good at great risk. For example, yes, when you are killed, and it is a
Two
kind.
minutes more. 2 minutes more.
Yes, thank you so much. So you are it is an honor. So for the baskets, yes, we know also it is used for when someone is dead, you have to go, we have the mystical basket. You want to ask to see who is the author of this death, or if someone is really sick, sometimes you has taken something from the spirit, and then for your success or something else, and then you have to go. They have to take this basket, and then the mystical basket with all the rituals, and then you go and they find the causes. So because of time, I don't go to all of this, but I just wanted to finish with this. Yes, the palm branch. They say a man is alan digigin Dave Ching. A man is like tying a palm branch on the back, meaning that husbands, they are always ungrateful to their wife, whatever the wife can do, and so on and so on, taking care of. I'm not saying that all men, but in general, that's what Balanta people think. So thank you so much for your understanding and listening.
Thank you, Professor Bruce. We have known or seen or heard another aspect of Proverbs from an African country. And for his work is, let me just quickly wrap up with us. He says that Proverbs are actually inspired by concrete social reality, which consolidates and reinforces people's belief system. He goes on to say that Proverbs, it is quite important to understand the value of the symbols in the social and cultural life of anyone who says Proverbs. And behind word of that proverb, behind sentence, there is a symbol hidden in the past. It is a way of seeing and observing the world. And it is a world, it's a whole history of a society. And what he's trying to tell us is that the proverbs of the people, like he has rightly told us in his presentation, tells of the Balanta people. And he was able to illustrate it with the different proverbs he highlighted. Thank you. Can we have what's his name?
Yannick.
Yannick. Okay. So for those ones who are for the two presenters, can we ask questions, observations, and suggestions? I'm sure before it comes back, we'll have been able to do a few things with it. Yes. Number 1, 2, 3. So can we start, please? Very good. Thank you. Just a kind of observation too concerning the paper of Dr. Dewumi. You know, she says something about when elders want to say proverb, they will make reference to elders before them, as our elders say, even though they are also elders. But there's another angle to it. When a young child, because the essence of all these proverbs, apart from the moral aspects in your paper, is also cultural transmission. So you want continuity of that orality. Now, the children too must feel free to use proverbs, because it's not just at the learning level, but they must be able to use it appropriately when situation demands. So there's also this thing, I don't know whether it exists in other parts of Nigeria, surely it will, that younger ones, when they want to say proverbs where adults are, they will say, just like you elders say, they kind of apologize. They apologize first. Please don't be offended that I'm going to be using this proverb here because you are my elders. But like you elders say, I know that the elders also would have made reference to the elders before them, even though they are non-existent. So I think that's also a kind of continuity. It's also a culture on its own. It's a tradition that's like a ritual you have to observe, that you want to say. A child cannot just stand on it in the midst of others and say, when the cockroach is flying, then no, you can't just do that. So I know that there are similarities in cultures in some areas. I don't know whether it exists in other cultures, like maybe the Igbo and so on. No, I know in the Igbo they do it. Yorubas they do it, but I don't know of other cultures. Probably some other people can talk about it. They do it too.
Professor, yes.
Okay.
The prof said that children go to schools.
These programs, yes.
Or because time is strange. That's why we are advocating for normalization of the programs. If it is normalized, I will not feel bad using it. You know what? Why we say we can see it, but really that respect. You know, before I say that my elders, according to my elders, I'm giving some people as a cultural and treat some people as a and the children will know how to give this stuff. What you say.
Okay.
I say, but before one of the what happened, there is some according to our there must be a situation that balances. I think some situation because do not think about anyhow. When discussing and discussing, if something happens and there's a need for a profile, we use it. We say like our elders say, too much talk. If you pass a trouble, you're not going to change the line. We don't know. Second, I'm telling you, don't go. We say no. So much of the thing I say our elders say, you are only forgiving me all the necessary that I will come. Why say too much of this for how so you as a child not caution yourself. So can either say it can never be wrong. Because indeed, and this is the question. But the real thing is for us to realize our profile. So everybody can be using it. But with the same optional ethics attached to it.
I think it's just the same thing with the plagiarism. Reference when we write our words. So we're making reference. So it's not your word. So you want so that's just my contribution to that.
So thank you, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to, of course, since your work is in progress, of course, we can only make suggestions here, and that we help the project to, because the project that everybody is looking up, especially if you are a true African man. So thank you so much. But I have issue with the word normalize that you use. I am thinking we can find another lexicon for it instead of using, because the sense one we get when you say it should be normalized is as if the use of proverb is not a normal thing before. So I'm thinking if there could be another lexicon that we use to present that. Okay, yes. Okay. Then he said the use of aesthetics.
The beauty of the proverb is that if we normalize it, won't it use this beauty?
Okay. So then on the issue of advocacy, because when I came in, that's the question I wanted to ask. I didn't know it was a project that's ongoing. I acknowledge the fact that you are recommending that it should be in the curriculum so that we catch them young from, if possible, primary school. Yes, because but I remember that because it's going to be a huge assignment, and I want to suggest that we go beyond that for another means of advocacy. Maybe we will have to include the role of, say, national orientation agency if they are still performing their civic duty as we used to know it. Because I remember that Nigeria policy on education gave a guideline on the use of language in the elementary classes. Yes. And I doubt if that is still in play. It's on paper. I know it's on paper, but in practice, I doubt if it is. I was saying it somewhere this morning that I grew up with that. My primary 1, 2, 3 to 4, I think then. But then, so that this project also will not go in the same line. So I should think your team should be thinking in that direction of, say, what other advocacy can we include such that all your efforts, yes, so it will materialize. Because if it's our government, pushing out money may not be an issue for them. But you as an expert and all your efforts, your passion for it will not go down the line like that. So please, madam, I think you should think of other. Then for the proverbs, I don't know whether you are the one, are you going to design a curriculum? Or you're going to just make an advocate that it should be taught? How should it be taught?
Yes.
What should be taught
There is already a curriculum.
for Proverbs?
No, it's a curriculum that says that indigenous language, that is from the
Yes.
shopping in Hausa days.
Okay. Yeah.
There were no teaching as a subjects. One of the stages we chose, because in researcher, we chose them from different universities to do the program. So they are not teaching outside Lagos States. In primary schools, we have to change. We have to change that to Niger States.
Oh, madam, that is not shocking, actually. That's not shocking because down to the west too.
Talk to them. We are just completed the start in Lagos.
Okay.
The 10 schools we went to.
That's why I said it's not shocking, especially with the growing number of private schools.
There for them to do that.
Okay.
But nobody is dealing about this. So our own was recommended to them.
Yeah, the reason why I said that is if you recommend, a lot of recommended paper are on ground already. If there is no plan of how to utilize it, it could just be an academic exercise. Sincerely speaking, I am thinking that I know that you have passion for this and you want it to go around, of course, as many people will want. But then if there is no how, there is the question of how, it's not there, it's not solved. It may just be like a normal jamboree that we are known for in the country. As I think that.
Yes, I'm from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Now, Mommy, I'm very grateful for the perspective you brought into this. I've been very interested in indigenous knowledge systems and how we can create digital resources for it in teaching in higher education. Now, that's for university students. So, but there were some points he raised that I fully agree with. But one of them is another perspective that I want to come from. Now, the idea of, you said it in the Yoruba culture, that you want, from the angle of that advocacy, that we wanted to see how the use of proverbs will be normalized. Now, from the angle of Igbo, which I am, it's a good thing to see a young person speak with proverbs. It's a very good thing. So when you see a young person use his maybe make a speech and like put in a lot of proverbs we hail the person. So we may not have that with children, as you said, rightly said, that's the common ground for all these languages. But young people use proverbs, and are expected to use proverbs. So in that case of normalizing it, now for us, then the other aspect also is the side you brought in. You know, in the Yoruba culture, from what I just learned now, we use that our elders say. We also use it, but more times, Igbo people say, the Igbo people say, our people say, not the elders. So there's a link we make to the whole of the people and the culture, much more than elders. That's why it may seem as if it's not really that it's lack of respect, but we are acknowledging our stock, and then we use that in that region. Then, and concerning the last your response to the last person, the idea behind one of your, because I actually grew up in Jos. My thesis was on Birom. Birom is one of the largest speakers in Plateau State. There will be, Hausa is the lingua franca in the North Central, but they would have issues, as they always usually do, to allow, though there are places where they actually teach Hausa, but they will have issues actually teaching Hausa, because there are a lot of agitations to, for instance, the language I worked on, Birom, it has the largest number of speakers, but they still claim that there's endangerment of their language, or there's a little threat to their language as a result of the use of Hausa as against Birom by younger speakers. So that's also another issue you should consider in that. Thank you.
That's all right.
Yes.
Okay.
A question. I have a query.
Let's see. Pelumi.
Okay.
Olajimi.
Okay, please, can I ask you?
Please, can you unmute and ask your question? We can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, I'm responding to the remarks of the last speaker, who I think our colleague, who I think is from UNN, University of Nigeria, if I'm correct. She said something that Yoruba people often say, our elders say, but Igbo people will often say, according to the Igbos, or Igbo people will say, I remember you said that clearly. I just want to know that Yoruba people also have a way of saying Yoruba people say. For example, I say Yoruba, they will say Yoruba bo. You know, our own proverbs, they will say Yoruba bo. One pé Yorùbá bọ̀, wọ́n sọ wípé ọwọ́ ọmọdé ò tó pẹpẹ tàgbàlagbà ọwọ́ kèrègbè. Again, they will say Yorùbá bọ̀, wọ́n sọ wípé ilé làwò ká tó sọmọ lórúkọ. So Yoruba people also have a way of saying, you know, they have a way of being collective, you know, collective ownership of oral tradition. It is not restricted to the elders alone in Yoruba tradition. Even those of us who are young, we still have a sense of belonging in our oral traditions, in our proverbs. We say, Yoruba bo, also we pay ọmọ tí ò níyà kì í dégbò ẹ̀yìn. So we have our own proverbs too, you know, and our proverbs are collective. They are not restricted to the elders alone. Thank you. That's my intervention.
Thank you.
And I sorry, what don't say like you only want all twice. Our people say, not outside your geographical zone. And people say, sometimes they'll just say, the Igbo people say, or the Yoruba say, but mostly we say, and people say this, that, and secondly, you will now say, oh, the elders say, the elders is not from another geographical zone, it's our own people. So let's know that too, that we all use proverbs that way. Now, Dr. Dupe, please, can you say what's
I want to say from where our uncle said something. We're looking at how this thing can
to the grassroots, that it will not be fair after all the work and all the writing, and it will end in this hall, you know, and the paper will be kept somewhere, and that will be end. So as it was talking, something came to my mind, and I was telling my sister here that, look, like a recommendation, the theater can help get this thing to the grassroots. For instance, we all watch tradition, what do you call it? Maybe Yoruba play. We have people drama. We have Yoruba. We have Hausa these days. We even have Edo, different tribes. You know, if we can now have it in a way that the theater can now use more of this program. These children like drama, they like visuals, when they learn it from there, like cartoons. Our cartoons, the African cartoons can come at a program. And this children, it will sing better. And when they watch it, because somebody, the person that presented online was talking of symbols. So if it can come as symbols in cartoons, if it can come as symbols in what these children can use to play. No, because when you have all this A for apple, B for ball, we can come up with something like that in our own traditional, the indigenous languages, and these children will sing, and they will learn it better, and they will be able to use it. Thank you. That's my thought.
Let's respond to that. We actually did something. We are projects. We actually did something about that. We did animation. I'm trying to see how I can play one of the animations. It's on my system.
Yes. We drew the picture. The art is for the pupils to color it. You know, that kind of a thing. That is psychomotor skills for them to be familiar with it. The next one is the animation talks. You know, that kind of proverb, people speak the proverb. You know, one of my child said, this animator, this Hausa baby say,
oh, sorry. Look at this.
Yes.
You're not real taller than the plant.
Yes, that is Sopora. Now, the okra cannot go
Taller than the Atlanta.
Yes.
So we played all this when we went to, I was in the East. That's why this one is in Igbo. I went around 10 schools and we played it. The children learned it. The teachers taught them. And when we came, they had to start coloring these proverbs because they were also drawn. They were made into coloring books. And we gave them all this. And some of them were exceptionally good. Now, in terms of using the theater for I said the workshop with the teachers, I had to dramatize it. And when I go to the school, they started it. We had to practice before they started the coloring. And you see them acting it out. But from what you are saying, it's just about going to school. We have to go to community.
Yeah.
How do we achieve that? It's going to be intensive, very finance intensive. But I am also suggesting to this house that we are all academics. For those of us who are in that line, we could co-opt people who are in the theater, lecturers and the rest of them. A collabo. Go to these schools. It's another point of your research. Go to village squares or schools and do this. Let's out these things. As they are acting, they are basically using proverbs to do the acting. And they will enact what that proverb says. Thank you.
Can I speak? Yes, you can. Okay. I would want to start by commending the efforts of the panelists. But please, can we remember that we still have one outstanding? Yeah, so whenever we get his signal, just give him an opportunity. So my question is for Professor Jules, for the Balanta Proverbs. You know if you can hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
I
great.
can.
Okay, I listened very carefully and I heard the symbolic or the symbolism of proverbs. Now, what caught my attention is about theft. You know, when theft is used to prove manhood, coming of age, you know, strength and all that. I do not know how the Balanta culture works, but is the proverbs, are they not supposed to be items to uphold moral instructions and instill morality to the group of people? If theft is going to be a proof of manhood, is it encouraging vices? You know, are the proverbs encouraging people to steal? Is it not supposed to be the reverse? So, like you said something about reverse discourse. I don't know if it is part of that, but I didn't quite understand it. If you could provide further clarifications on that, maybe we can learn better on this side, since we are not from anywhere around Balanta society. Yes.
Let me quickly add.
Okay.
Prof, sir, please, can you tell us the state of proverb usage in that culture as of now, as compared to what it used to be in the past? We want to know so that in follow up to that, we see whether it is having effect on the younger generation. Because whether that's part of the culture anyway, but we understand the issue of proverbial cases where we even try to, to change the real meaning of a proverb. That, yeah, post proverbial. Yeah. So when we talk about that one, now, now compared to what you have now, the agitation, the curiosity is whether it's trying to uphold immorality now. Now, when we have that, so what's the situation of proverb usage among the people of the Balanta, I think? Oh.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. And, proverbs are used by, before even I started studying these proverbs, and I thought it was only used by elders. And then when I went to the field, I did a participant observation, and then I realized that even among the young people, proverbs are used. But for this, we have to know exactly the function of the proverb, because in the Balanta, it gives a morality. It is about the morality. You want to give lesson to somebody else. But since it is a speech community where a younger person is not supposed to give advice or to rebuke an elder, so most of the time they use it among themselves, the young people. But when it comes to elders, they can use whatever they want during meetings and so on and so on. Or even maybe or young people wanted to make some jokes with the elders, so they can use it. But in a very formal situation, and a young man cannot use it to elders. So it is they use it. Yes, they use it in formal or in informal situation. It is used. So by young people or elders. But yes, the theory. So I have many of proverbs that just condemn this stealing stuff. Yes, this is not a good thing. But I just wanted to see behind behind the symbol, the image, what is the link between they don't encourage the thieves at all. But for them, if they go to usurp someone's belonging, it is not the theft, because it is like today they call us Balanta. But Balanta, we don't call ourselves Balanta. So from them, they say, this is not just a thief. I just wanted to go to prove myself that I am. And sometimes what they do, they let you know in advance. Like, tomorrow I'm coming, so get ready. So the proverbs are used. It is not just it's not about the morality of it, but I just want to go beyond this morality to see what links Balanta people with the code.
Thank you.
I don't know if I answered your question. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, panelists. It was a good presentation. Regarding the question she asked, I had a similar experience way back in this Nigeria. We have a culture. It's among Benue, where there is a particular the experience I had. I was in primary school. I had an accident, and my landlord then had to get a particular leave to treat the leg. But it happens that you can't go and take the leave or beg for the leave. You have to steal it before it can be effective. And when stealing, the person would be caught and beaten. Yes. Yes, and that is when it is efficient. So it's a cultural thing. Various cultures everywhere. You know, I actually told my younger sister, so she was the one that reminded me just now that it's as if this thing is relating to the experience we shared back then. And so I think these cultures, regarding the issue of theft and proving masculinity and manhood, cultures differ, but when you look at Africa as a whole, we have this very beautiful culture that when you present it to some people, it may look barbaric, but to us, it's a wonderful culture. Thank you very much, Bob.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And agree with you people because rightly, how would you be beating your brother to say you want to prove your masculinity? Sports. For me, I mean, fighting is a vice. It could be looked at as a sport. Yes. It's also a vice. So thank you. Please, can you give to her? Please.
So wait, we need to.
All right, thank you. I'm Ihoma Okori. I don't know if you're interested in publishing this paper because every comment I'll have to make now is based on publishing.
Okay.
I don't know if you're interested in publishing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I get to the publishing parts, this thing about curriculum, my daughter does Hausa, she's 6 years old. And whenever she brings the assignment, I get very angry because I don't even want it. And I was thinking of going to the school to tell them to scrap this thing because it's stress for me. Kaduna, yes. She does Hausa, but it's not all the schools that do it anyway. But parents have a huge role to play in making this thing work. Honestly, for me, because I do not really understand Hausa, it's a serious problem for me. She brings it, she'll be like, read for me, and I can't do it. What do you want me to read? And the teachers in school have just 40 minutes. So the bulk of the work is done by the parents. And what if the parents do not understand that language? How would this thing work?
You know, in the East story, I've seen love. In the East, I did my own research. What the public school, the primary school. As I was so impressed with what the teachers did there. Apart from that public school, other school did it. Other public or private. They wrote the programs on the board. So they were just telling the student, bringing out to the student. They were teaching there on the board. They did not teach there for days. Meaning that
but remember that for okay.
Interactive validation. It's really progress the top that we were supposed to see a flash in upcoming books by the children if it is to let them take it from a text flash
The word will be pronounced in Hausa so that as the child is learning, the Hausa speaker, it will be pronounced, the interpretation and translation. You understand it? So when you get it, if your child is reading Merewa or Merewa, you say it's Merewa. But then if I look at how people don't reading like that, there was so simple that some reading up there.
Of course, tonal marks.
Like Russian. This is the part of animation. When it is animated, all parents are happy. We give them the flash. And then you got the difference. Just concluded it in their system. In their source. When you tell children that you are taking us Proverbs in Africa, it's not practical again. Just from the phone. So that I can look at I mean everything back from phone and having to learn in this place. This is what you are doing. So really, it's not animation. Animation is very good as well as problem. Because there should be a city or a flash in your coloring.
Okay. Okay. Secondly, you know, you made mention of the word normalized. Can you use fully adopted?
Okay.
I think it's a kind of better. Then you made mention of the fact that you use hermeneutics. And when I just saw hermeneutics in the analysis, I laughed. Ma, please, I want to understand how you use hermeneutics. Because hermeneutics is a theory of understanding and interpretation. And in that understanding and interpretation, there are no pointers for you to use. There are no tenets for you to use in the analysis. So how did you actually interpret these proverbs?
Understand the communities.
Yes.
From biblical text to interpret proverbs.
Yes.
So how we use it is that the proverbs in this indigenous language, they interpret it in English.
That's the next, down to my next question. You cannot interpret these proverbs outside of the context of the culture in which these proverbs are used. So how did you get that interpretation without consulting the author?
Okay.
But I'll stop here, please. Let me just stop here. I'll stop here.
The next person,
And good morning, everyone. I have two things to speak about, and I'll be coming from the angle that we started before going to the question. The question is, how do we make all these recommendations effective in the society? And our purpose of being is to change things, to make things work out. And I want us to view it from the angle of socialization. The first agent is the family and not the school that we are looking up to. And this proverbial thing, you can know proverbs, you can read, you can memorize, you can know the meaning, but it should be very difficult for you to use them in context. You have to be contextual for you to use a proverb. For example, if you want to settle a dispute in Yoruba culture, you have to go through some processes, and each of the steps will be guided by a particular proverb. You call the participant, the people that are engaged in the fight on ground. You have to start with a proverb. Then after it, you ask them, for example, you ask, Kí lórí lọ́bẹ̀ tó fi wà rọ́wọ́? You ask what happened. The person will explain, and then after the person has spoken, you move on to the second step, and then the fourth step, and this will not be taught. Nobody can teach you how to use a proverb. It will come by instinct. What you've learned from the beginning, what you've learned from your parents, you pick them up. As I am now, although in schools, teachers will say this is a proverb. I have not been taught that this is a proverb, this is how to use it. I've never been taught. But I pick them up because I listen to people that speak, how they use it, what they must do, and occurrences before for it. And I will not know, I will just spell out the proverb. I will just instinctively. So it's not that I've been taught this is how to use it. So if somebody works with somebody that speaks it, and in this case, the case to be with the family. The family is the first agent that children get in contact with, And if they observe the family very well, they will be able to use the proverb in context. And about the translation, that will not work out. The words and the meaning, they will not have equal representation in English. So we have to go back to the context of the usage. That's just my recommendation. I want to start from the family, and you've made a good step by getting the parents to know about the video to watch, and the children, if they are observed, the parents should speak the proverb more and people in the society. If they see them, they can also pick them up, and they are not to be taught. Teaching will not help. You can just teach you the phrase, then you forget it. That's to come by your instinct. Thank you.
For example, in both language, there is a proverb that says, yeah, we know warrior. Eventually, one year, what is it? If all is so the proverb here, and it's translated that the money is to marry us is one of the pay. What makes it? Don't say my secret to the person. The person should know its expression. Like you don't let it say that children is woman are encouraged in us. If you don't just sit down and start to a child, they don't know it by at least next round. So that would say that sometimes some it's my last so much. The child woman are usage. It's like informal education.
Yes, ma'am.
So many things, but I want to agree that it will be taught.
So it should be taught.
I'm saying that you also when you learn English. So why is it so yes, you are an agent of socialization. Yes, yes. You are right. You are right that we have socialization, agent of socialization at home. But then, if home has not done enough, what stops us from taking it to the classrooms? A lot of things are being taught in school today that parents did not teach at home. And children know this thing more than even the parents that would have taught. Now, when you are talking about context, when you want to hire a child and teach you, so won't hire Igbo to come and teach you Yoruba? Yes. And that is the role of linguists and those who are, in fact, you may not even hire somebody that has formal education. You may hire somebody, for instance, there was a time that you will engage those who cry artists. Come and teach in their Yoruba department. So you understand? And they have to deal within the culture of that proverbs. And so it is possible. It may not be enough, but it is possible.
Yes. Let me just. Okay, me? Yes. Oh, thank you very much. Well, I was actually, a number of things have been mentioned on what I wanted to say, but let me just put it this way, that we cannot leave the language behind in trying to contextualize proverbs, because when we don't, the language is the driver of proverbs. When you are not speaking the language, there is nothing the children can want to contextualize within that setting. So when I was younger, I realized that I know all the proverbs that I knew today based in context. When my elders use the proverbs, I will link it with the situation. They'll create a scenario. I understand it. So when that is done, it is easy for the children to internalize what you are trying to say. But if that is not done, it can also be taught in school. When the Yoruba teacher contextualize it for them based on the culture. And even sometimes we can go to the extent of checking the background information that elicit, that produce that proverb. Some elders will tell you that this happened. Some of this background story to a proverb, you can write a paper on it. Background story to a proverb, you can write a book. So those proverbs did not just emerge out of the blues. There were cultural contexts that made it happen. And it has been proven consistent. You discover that some of these proverbs are consistent. They are consistent. They are principles. So what I'm saying in essence is that when we are trying to conceptualize proverbs, we should not leave the language behind, because that language is actually the driver of whatever we want to say.
Thank you. Okay. Someone
Good morning, everybody. Growing up, I wasn't really a Yoruba speaker. Though I'm a Yoruba girl. My name is Olainton. And now I have nibblings that don't also speak Yoruba, but now they are learning Yoruba in classes. But there's this Disney collaboration with Yoruba industry of recently. The title of the cartoon is Iwaju. And it's a really fantastic thing. I like the idea of the animation. It is fantastic. Now, this is a gathering where we have many people from different institutions, theater students, theater lecturers, filmmakers in this same place that we are. It is something that we can collaborate with them, bring these things together. Now, let's make animations, things children like, create a story. We can't just sit down, like you said, and teach them proverbs. During conversations, and we just impute those proverbs. Children like YouTube Kids, we display these things on YouTube Kids, Disney, other kids shows that they can also learn proverbs and other Yoruba culture or African culture from it. Thank you very much.
So let me answer back to what is said concerning the informal education being very effective. To me, I believe that for the formal education, there's limitation in the sense of the formal education teaching of proverb is limited. It will be effective if the culture is not actually, brought along with it. Because even the idioms that you mentioned concerning the English idioms that we are learning it, yes, the culture. And even now in Nigerian English, because in Nigerian English, you now have some idioms that we actually even nativized ourselves based on our own experience. For instance, say cut your clothes according to your size. Why the proper English version is cut your coat according to your clothes. Fine. My point is that we actually identify our own using our own experience, but we do not lose the meaning. So what I'm just trying to say is that a sense of culture in learning proverbs. If you want to learn proverbs in school, the limitation, I think, would be the culture. Are we adapting the culture of that proverb in learning it also?
Yeah, we are. This proverb is taught in a beautiful page. And it's sorry.
Like we have courses in Yoruba, in Igbo, and in Hausa. You know that kind of a thing. They are teaching Yoruba language. You know that kind of a thing. Proverb, that time to be taught. It's not that when you are teaching to produce Yoruba proverb. It's when you are teaching Yoruba language. When you are teaching Hausa language, you produce the Hausa proverb. When you are teaching Igbo language, you produce Igbo language. So it is taught in the context, in the culture, in the tradition of the people. It's part of it. We don't teach it in isolation. We don't just come to a class and say, you English students, start doing. Yes, because it will be lost. I've not learned the language, they asked me to learn proverbs. It's not so. It's Yoruba language class that is learning it. That is it.
And please, one thing we actually did was telling the people from that culture, I have harvested proverbs from Igbo. So if you see the coloring books, there are different proverbs from the culture. We didn't use one proverb and translated it to English, to Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. We went and harvested the proverbs from that culture, like the okra. The okra cannot be taller. Yes, we know we have it in the West here, but thank you very much. So we went there, yes, but we made sure the proverbs are not the same
at all. Like in that Hausa ban, we were on that ban issue of yam for 3 months. The Hausa said it's not banned. That is something, that kind of a thing that they put their yam. And they told us, we brought Hausa dictionary until we got the right word. for it. So we did not use ban. We who burns his ban, nowhere it fetches money. You know, that is the right translation that we got. But the Hausas disagree with it until they came to that vocabulary that represent their own ban. If you see it in the coloring book, say any outside child that looks at that picture, we know that that's what they mean. No? And we got that word as storage. That is the closest to it in English. But we did not use ban. That is to tell you the uniqueness of the language. Because sometimes you'll be thinking that sometimes it does not cut across our culture. He who burns his a band of yam knows where it fetches such. They said, no. 2 months were on it until we got the right word.
Yes. It's unfortunate Yannick could not present because he said he's in another meeting and we've been trying to reach out to him, but he's not answering his messages. And we have less than 10 minutes. That's what I was asking her. And
if nobody comes, if the people who are supposed to present did not make it, if he still, because he will have another ID. I don't think he will have that ID. It's not the same ID. It's not the same ID at all. So if he has that ID, if the people are not enough, he can present. Oh, you're still raising your hand, my brother. Okay.
Okay. Prof, do you have anything to say, Professor Jules? Prof? Prof?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, do you have anything to say?
Yes. I don't know if I know because you are Nigerian because you know Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She wrote a book Americana, and I love it very, very, very much. And when you read this book and you find Nigerian proverbs, I don't know if it is Yoruba or Igbo, anyway. But yes, I just want to say that the proverbs, to understand the proverb, you need a context. The context and meaning the situation the proverbs have been uttered. And for this pedagogy issue, I think we can use, for example, literature. We can use like literature class as portrayed by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. So when we read this, we read the African mystic or the African proverbs and so on and so on. And also during the reading session, for example, I observed multilingual class in Finland, in Helsinki. So they have this special time for reading session. And during the reading session, for example, you can introduce, they can read the proverb, discuss about the proverb coming from different ethnic groups. But for this, I'm really convinced that they need the context, even if they don't know the symbols behind it, but they need the context where the proverb should be used, because without the context, you may have just stock or list of proverbs and you don't know how to use them. And most of the Africans, they have been just collecting, but we go deep and then to see in which context we can use these proverbs and so on. But I think that they can be introduced in the curriculum. It's a really good thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
My question is that some people, I try to pick up some proverbs from novels, but what I finally realized that there are some novelists and others that are purists of language that believe that no matter how we translate a proverb from an indigenous language to English will not get accurate interpretation. So they believe putting the words directly. For example, the translation of Forest of Thousand Demons by Soyinka, he take those proverbs in Yoruba expression and put it. And author's introduction, it tells us that he tries as much as possible to translate some, but some, if he attempts to translate them, the meaning will be lost. So I want to ask, there is a proverb that I picked from Prince Paul. It goes like this: a man who does not know where the rain began to beat him cannot know where the dry is from. So I want to know if that is the example that it has in Igbo as well. Because Shonika believes that if you continue translating this proverb, you will not get the exact meaning. So he concluded by quoting the proverbs. If you go through the translated version of Vagunwa's book, he just quotes them Yoruba expression directly, some words on the way they are. So I want to ask if that proverb still retains meaning in English, the one translated by Achebe. So that's my question.
I want in my language, you can interpret it as the poor man child dance. You Afaribafari. It's not a word. It's not the meaning. I cannot the real meaning in English. You cannot pinpoint it. You know that kind of it. So you can just say, okay, a poor man child dances by the corner. Okay. But Afarimafari is not a corner. You understand me? It's a metaphorical usage. Like in some folklore, you use metaphorical. Like there's one that comes to my mind. The monkey, they went for a contest. And the monkey had to borrow the sexual organ of the woman. In that story, it was called Ajalupete. Then the male sexual organ is called Ofigo. But when I was told the tale, I was laughing. You know that, and I told it in class, people were laughing. So, but that metaphorical usage, that's why you see Shoyinka said the Yoruba word. Sometimes, but because this is for children, we made sure we did not delve into those proverbs that has no, the meaning would be difficult. You know, I told you, in that band, we spent time. We just chose words that the children is close to it. I think we have no time more. Thank you.
We have just 2 minutes to go. We'll have this discussion outside this venue.
Yes, we have our email addresses.
Unfortunately, our last speaker is unavailable because he's in another meeting. Thank you. Thank you for coming. We have another presentation, another session in room
on Proverbs 212.
301.
301. Okay.
11. So you can join us.
Join us there. The conversation continues. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending our session. We hope to see you in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I mean, thank you.